What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about everybody's favorite topic in the crypto markets, and that is alt season, right? A lot of people theorize that it has already began or that it will begin. Some people theorize that it'll never happen. I'm in the camp that it either has already started or that it will start very, very soon. When I say very soon, I mean it could be today that it's starting, man. It could be next week. We're definitely at that moment where ignition is happening, right? And if you don't believe all season will happen, that's okay. Just give it a week or two. You'll probably come around. But I want to go over some evidence in the charts that not just talking about is alt season starting, will it start, won't it start, but where, right? Everybody talks about alt season and what it is, but they don't talk about the prospects. They don't talk about what the average altcoin is going to do. I want to talk about what the average altcoin, what the performance expectation is going to be, right? What can you expect out of the average altcoin? That's the purpose of this video. So if that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe. Let's get into it. We're going to use some charts, okay? The camera's moving around because I got it on this, like, it's not a flimsy desk, actually. I don't know why it's moving around so much. But it's because I'm hitting it, moving it. I don't know. Anyways, let's go. Looking at the charts here, we're on the others chart. Now, others, for those of you that don't know, is the crypto total market cap excluding the top 10 coins. So, yeah, basically the top 125 cryptos excluding the top 10. That's the market cap here, $310 billion. We're going to be using this a lot in this video. All right, but first, I do want to go over the total 3 market cap. Actually, I want to do this first, and I want to compare it to the interest rates, right? Interest rates, because we are going to get a rate cut in September. It's looking like interest rates, not interstate, my bad. Oh, damn it. Let me undo this. Let's do new price scale. There we go. Okay. And we put this out on a monthly time frame, right? Maybe even a weekly time frame. Let's do that. Weekly time frame, we'll put it in log. And we'll zoom out. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Okay, so this, and this is not in log either. Okay, hold on. Let's adjust all this. There we go. Yeah, is that better? Looks good enough in my opinion. Okay, so here we are looking at the interest rates, at least since this chart has existed, the total 3 chart, which has been since 2017 in July. Okay. Whenever interest rates are hiking, we have seen the markets actually continue to pump, but that was at the beginning of them hiking, right? As they continue to hike, this really was the beginning of the end for the altcoin season. We saw, or the crypto market as a whole, right? The total 3 is, by the way, it's the total market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. As interest rates were growing, the market was dying off. But once they started to plateau and even turn around, we saw the market start to grow, right? Here, once the interest rates plummeted and we were at our very lows, we were at the lowest point here in the total 3 market cap, and we were actually ready to build from there. Okay, building. And then as the interest rates began to grow again, we started to hit our bear market, right? Bear market tapers off as the interest rates taper off. And you notice that as we plateau again, that's when we get to that turning point where we start to move up, right? Consolidate, whatever, just natural stuff, not including, it has nothing to do with the interest rates. But then we start to come down, we start to cut, and this time at a slow rate. A lot of people have been complaining that Jerome Powell cutting these interest rates, the Fed cutting these interest rates so slowly or not at all, really, since November has been a problem. I think it's been a good thing. Take note, right? Whenever we cut, like, this was even a faster rate than what we did last time, what we did most recently. This rate was too fast. We saw a drawback immediately with the markets. Really fast. We saw an absolute crash with the markets back there. This has been very gradual, and the market received that in a very positive way. We're going to drop again, but it's been so much time. I think that the markets are also going to receive it in a positive way. I would assume that we get a move much like this going forward, okay? Much like that. What happened back here in the other chart? That was November of 2024 to December of 2024. So let's look at that, right? The average altcoin back in November, December, where, well, man, I'm on the daily time frame. That's why. Let's go on the weekly time frame here. That was back over here, November to December. The average altcoin saw an overall growth from a low to a high of about a 2.4x, okay? I think we're about to go on a very similar kind of path as this, but it's going to be even more bullish, okay? This time, the difference between this interest rate cut and the one that's coming right now versus any of the ones that we've had in recent history, this one is like overdue. A lot of these rate cuts were in response to like a reaction in the markets, in the economy, to try and stimulate the economy, and you know, it's like a cheap trick to boost the economy by lowering interest rates so that we can inject more funds into the economy. This time it's been overdue, right? Inflation's been kept at a very low rate for a long time. The economy's booming, things are going well, and we've actually had like reverse inflation going on with these with these tariffs, man, bringing in money and all that stuff. Economic goods are not going up, at least not in the United States. I haven't seen the cost of goods go up. My bills are not getting more expensive. I think because it's been overdue and because it's been such a long drawn out process, this will be more positively received than even this last move was. Therefore, I'm thinking that we're going to see an even larger move. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but also thinking outside the interest rates here, thinking in terms of the bull cycle and how it goes. Typically, as the cycle continues, we do get bigger moves. We've been in this overall consolidation phase, right, since March of 2024. If we see a move that's even similar to what we saw here, and we move up from here right now up to this high, we're going to be breaking out of this consolidation phase, and the average altcoin would actually be seeing new all-time highs, right? That's what this chart would show. So with that kind of breakout, I would think we actually see a bigger move than what we saw last time. Okay, so does that make sense? The average altcoin as of now, we've established, might see something on the lines of a 2.4x. The average altcoin. There's going to be plenty of them that see more than that, plenty of them that see less than that too, but as of now, 2.4x. That seems a bit low. Let's see if we can make sense out of anything that's a little bit higher. Okay, I'm going to delete this here. We're going to leave that there for now because that's a good little estimation based off of logic that we've applied so far. From last cycle's high to the bear market low, if we take our fibs here, we can see our first fib extension is at about $838 billion. But our target doesn't even line up with that. So I think it's fair to say that we need to move this up, okay? The average altcoin right now, altogether, right? The average expectation should be, I think, at a minimum, about a 2.7x, okay? At a bare minimum. And this week, we're up about 2% so far. I would think at a bare minimum, 2.7x is what we should expect. Really, though, this seems pessimistic. We spent a whole cycle. This is our cycle high to cycle low. We spent basically most of this cycle, like over a year and a half, consolidating in this area just to hit the first target. That doesn't sound right to me. $838 billion is very close to a very psychological area of what I think will provide resistance, and that's $1 trillion. If we get up to $1 trillion, it's likely that we overshoot that a little bit because the 1414 is right up here. I think like a magnet, it'll pull us through. Typically with the 1414, you don't stop right at it. You actually go a little bit above it. So while a 170% growth at a minimum expectation is, I think, a fine expectation to have for the average altcoin, I really think a more appropriate assumption would be something of about 1.1 trillion or above, which would give the average altcoin something of like a 3.5x. Okay, so let me say that again. Let me say it clearly. Let me get the big face up on here. Okay, the average altcoin in the top 125 coins. Okay, I would even say some of the coins in the top 10. They're going to see what was that number? 3.55x, 255% growth between now and the end of this next phase in the market, okay? And when is this next phase going to end, right? Depending on how you look at it, I think this next phase is going to continue until, the beginning of 2026. I think we're in that finale phase, so it's really going to be a significant rally. But if we compare it to the interest rates, the interest rates that cut last time in this little rally that we had here, maybe not on a percentage basis, but on a time basis, well, this, took from November to December to come to fruition. That was about a month. So then I would apply that same kind of logic here. We're at the end of August. Maybe it's the end of September that we see this kind of growth. If it's a larger amount of growth, maybe it takes a little bit more time. So end of September, perhaps not just the end of September, but the beginning of October, that we see this move take place. Now, this goes against the mainstream, right? Most people are telling you right now that September is going to be a bloodbath or it's not going to be a good month. I'm of a different position, right? And who am I to say this? Who am I to say this at all, right? I've just been, in crypto now. This is my third bull cycle. I've been doing technical analysis now for almost 10 years. And that doesn't make me an expert. That just means I have a little bit of experience. And I'm the same guy who last September was saying September is not going to be a bloodbath. It's actually going to be a green month. And look at that. It was a green month. I'm the same guy who the September before, because this is the first September that I actually had my channel back in 2023, I said the same thing. I was like, we're not going to have a red September. It's actually going to be a neutral September. And it was actually green, right? I said neutral. I might have said neutral but red, but neutral but green. And we actually had a green. Everybody was expecting these last two Septembers to be a bloodbath. They're expecting this one to be a bloodbath too. And I don't think it will be. I think we're actually primed and ready to move higher than anything, right? We're just getting started. Ethereum itself, you guys, if we're looking at Ethereum's price right now, it's basically at new all-time highs. Like, what are we doing? Let's look at this. Hold on real quick. We're basically there. We're just going to break out to new all-time highs, and then 1 week later, August ends, and now that it's September, we're going to start crashing? No. You guys, we're just kicking off this market cycle, okay? We're absolutely just kicking it off, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Even look here, whenever we cut rates before, that was actually pretty positive for Ethereum. in a time whenever Ethereum was being held up and it was pretty damn negative. But now we're in this bullish phase. We're gonna cut rates. I think it's only gonna expedite things to the upside. And what's good for Ethereum is typically pretty damn good for the average altcoin. So as of now, I think we have a solid argument built out that the average altcoin will at least 2.7x, if not 3.5x. Okay. If we want to go on the high end of expectations, maybe we see this chart go all the way up to the 1618. It's the golden ratio, for example, and 165 trillion. That's almost the golden ratio just in market cap standard. 1.618, 1.65. Maybe we see the average altcoin do as much as like a 5.3x. I would think that if you have a coin, whatever altcoin it might be, and between now and the end of September or the beginning, the middle part of October, whenever this next kind of stopping point might be, not the end of the cycle, but the next stopping point might be for the average altcoin, where we're at like a 6-week break or a 4-week break, and we're consolidating, or maybe even more than that, before we run into the end of the year. Wherever that might be. I think if you have an altcoin that's doing greater than a 5x in growth, you have a winner. You have a true winner that will continue to outperform between now and the end of the cycle. So I think the goal is to at least have something on the lines of a 3.5x between here. Whatever altcoin you're holding, the goal should be 3.5x or more. But if you have something that's done a 5.5x or more, a 5.3x or more, you've got a winner. That's something that you should allocate more to. That's something you should pay attention to. Maybe you didn't hold it on the way up here, but you're thinking about adding more altcoins come September or October. You want to add more to your bag. Look for coins. Be on the lookout for coins to do this. I'm going to be on the lookout for coins to do this. I'm going to actually make a video in October probably that lists all the coins that did a greater than 5x move between now and then. Just so that we're aware of what the top movers are going to be. And these will be coins that are not brand new. They're going to be coins that have existed for at least a year. I mean, that's still pretty brand new, but that have existed for at least a year, that have been through some turmoil in this bull market. And then, we'll go from there. I would expect that the average altcoin between now and the end of the cycle, we're kind of jumping far ahead here, but I would think that the average altcoin does pull anything from about a 19x to a 20x. We'll probably see the others total market cap coming up to about a $6 trillion valuation, if not a little bit above there. So that should give the average altcoin something on the lines of a 20x, okay, from here. But all in all, I think that over the coming weeks, and if we just do some quick analysis here, looking at this, the stochastics are bullishly postured, being in the overbought zone. The MACD is crossing. You see the oscillators here, the blue and the orange line, crossing above this 0 line right here, crossing right above it, bullish as hell. And the weekly RSI is postured well to get into the overbought zone. The last time we saw like 5 weeks of growth, right? We haven't even gotten overbought yet. Altseason is starting right now. Ethereum's up 13-14%. Arbitrum's up 20%. XRP is about to see new all-time highs. Bitcoin's about to see new all-time highs. We've got all these prime indications that this finale phase is starting. We haven't even gotten overbought yet. And when we do get overbought, it should promote something like this, where we see 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks of growth. And I would expect the average altcoin to do anything from about a 2.7x to a 3.6x, if not more. You get something that does greater than a 5x, you have a winner. You know for certain that you have a winner there. So I don't really have anything else that I want to say. We can look at the Bitcoin dominance real quick and just see how this is tanking right now. If we're looking at the RSI, it's finally getting into the oversold zone. The last time that we got oversold on the weekly RSI was over here, and look at what took place afterwards, right? I'm going to make a video that kind of explains this a little bit more, separate of this video here, but I really just want to talk about not the dominance specifically, but what I expect the average altcoin to do. So things are looking good across all fronts. I don't have anything else that I want to say. If you guys like the video, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. And if the question comes to mind, you say the average altcoin, but what does that mean? I mean, dude, anything that's in the top 500, anything that's in the top 700. In fact, the lower down the list you go, the top 300 to the top 700, the average is probably going to be bigger, right? That 2.7 to 3 what was it? It was 2.7 to 3.6x. That is for like the top 200. Okay, anything outside the top 200, double that, maybe even triple that. Right? It could see some extraordinary growth. We're going to see a lot of exciting stories. We're going to see a lot of rocket ships taking off to the freaking moon over the coming weeks. It's very important that you don't get distracted and chase things, though. Okay, some coins might be up for a week and then they wither out into oblivion, right? Invest in the coins that you have. As I like to say, make your bed and lay in it, right? Make sure that you're doing research on the coins that you're investing in. You're not just chasing pumps. Be happy with the coins that you have. You don't have to catch every coin that's pumping every single week or the coin that does the best. It's a nice thought. It's ideal to have, absolutely. And if you're fortunate, great. But the worst thing you could do is try to move things around while everything's moving up, because I promise you, you're not going to make the right decision. So just stick to your guns, stick to whatever crypto you're holding, even if it's performing on average, even if it's performing below average or slightly below average, right? As long as it's secure, as long as it's moving up and you're making money, you're not doing anything wrong, okay? The worst thing that you could do is try and chase a coin that is pumping super hard, because oftentimes whenever you do that, you buy a coin at its relative high, it'll start to correct. And when cryptos are pumping hard, they correct hard. And if you buy at the high and it corrects hard, you're going to sell, you're going to buy at the wrong time, you're going to sell at the wrong time, you're going to buy back into whatever coin you had before that was safer, right? And you would have just been better off not trying to play the game anyway. So it really doesn't matter. I think that the time to move cryptos around might be past right now. I think it's really just the time to hold, make your bed and lay in it. I got nothing else, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care. Bye bye.